Hello and welcome to the Homeless Consultants channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. What I want to do here is document the difference between the way that the homeless live versus the way that housed people live. I'm going to extract this from my hour-and-a-half long video entitled Computer Models 101 for Government Officials, Part 3, which I think is one of the best videos I've put up there. And as you'll notice, at the current time it has 19 views. So I'm going to pull out about 13-15 minutes where I discuss the difference in how people live, which these computer models do not take into effect. But here, hopefully, you will finally get a sense of how what Governor Tim Walz has done discriminates against the homeless, because we live fundamentally differently. He hasn't just created catch-22 situations for us. He has created the conditions where there is nothing else we can do except die. I present you with that extract from my other video. I was at work and I got an email that said, Governor has announced a stay-at-home order. They changed my schedule for the next day, which was the last day you could work, so that instead of working at night like I usually do, I was working in the morning. And then you can't work anymore. And I was just in shock. I was like, this isn't possible. This is the United States of America. We have a Constitution. You can't do that. That's not possible. So within 2 hours, whenever my next break was, I immediately went outside, got on the phone, called the governor's office. First thing I did. The first thing out of my mouth when I talked to that aide was the only thing and the most important thing I had to say. I said, the governor needs to understand that not everybody lives the same way that he does. That's exactly what I said to this woman. And she completely misunderstood, because she also doesn't understand that other people do not live the same way that she does. You know what she said instead? She responded by saying, Governor Walz is the most empathetic man I've ever met. He didn't always live in a mansion. Well, folks, I wasn't talking about living in a mansion. I wasn't talking about him living in a mansion and me living in a 2-bedroom suburban home or an apartment or a trailer. I was talking about I fundamentally live in a different way than housed people do. Me and the other 19,601 or more homeless Minnesotans, that is. Alright? To show you what I mean, which is something that she didn't bother to investigate, she just gave me that bogus phone number and said to give me a call if you need anything. Here's my cell number. And it was a non-working number. Here's what I was talking about. For all these people who are sitting at home, if they feel oppressed because they're stuck at home, look at what they get to benefit from. They have familiar surroundings. They have safety. They have security. They have privacy. They have no harassment from others in theory. Of course, where I live, the reason I'm living in the car is because I had nothing but harassment from my neighbors. But if they actually enforce the law, which they tend to do for other people, not for transplants, then no harassment from others. They have control over their environment. They can set the temperature, the humidity. They have control over their physical stuff. They have a comfortable bed. They have a toilet. They have a bath or a shower or both. They have a kitchen where they can prepare nutritious meals, hot meals. They have storage space. They have electricity. They have waste disposal. They have running water. They have full and immediate access to all their possessions. They have mobility in the sense that they can at least move their body. They can make their body move within the confines of their home. They have a place to exercise for the same reason. If it's only jumping jacks and push-ups, they can do something to get their heart going. They have the ability to earn an income. Many of them can work from home like every single one of my coworkers. I'm the only one who's not allowed to work because I'm homeless, which is discrimination, of course. Or you could engage in internet commerce and at least maybe get a little extra income. And lastly, they have an address so that they can receive things like stimulus checks, for example, unemployment. Now let's look at what I have living in this car as a homeless person in the state of Minnesota, which is a hotbed for osteophobia. They don't care if the homeless live or die. They put a homeless person on the news every 2 or 3 months to try to give everyone the impression we're taking care of the homeless, and they leave us out here to suffer and die off camera. Let's see what my life is like. Do I have familiar surroundings? Only to the extent that I move this car from one place to another and I end up repeating myself in many cases. But I have to keep moving all the time. I have to dodge the police. I have to dodge the housed people who are such a threat to me. There's nothing familiar. I'm not going to the same place. Well, like I said, when I wake up, the first thing I do is look in both directions to figure out where I am today. There's nothing familiar about it. Am I safe? Do I have safety? I'm inside a vehicle. Vehicles are one of the leading causes of death. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week since the stay-at-home order, I am in this car, except when I step out to use the bathroom, get gas, get food. Every time I start up the car and move along, I could get in a car crash. I could either lose everything or I could be killed or severely injured. This thing has got electrical problems out the wazoo. It could catch fire at any time. And I'm breathing those fumes, the carbon monoxide, all the time. That's why my singing voice is completely gone now. Do I have security? I'm in a car that is... I'm literally sitting inside a cage that has glass at 360 degrees around me. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't have anything that resembles security, friends. People can see me from a long ways away. They can watch me. They can have binoculars. They can spy on me all they want. And I've just got this open who knows what's out there is all I can see. How about privacy? For the same reason, no. Anybody can look in this car and see me right now. I don't have anything that resembles privacy, and I haven't had anything in 3 weeks that resembles privacy. When's the last time you had that? That's what a prisoner experiences. These people in their homes, they're not prisoners, friends. They are not prisoners. They're bad citizens for not standing up, but they're not prisoners. No harassment from others. I put many videos up about how I'm stalked by these housed people all the time. No. Control over my environment. First of all, I'm not in my environment. I am, by definition, I'm homeless. I'm always on someone else's property or I'm on public property. I'm not on my property. I have no environment. Fundamentally different way to live. I am in someone else's environment all day, every day. I cannot control who or what is near me. If I don't want a scary-looking free candy van sitting right next to my car, I can't do a lot about it because they can just pull up right next to me at any moment. All I can do is leave. I cannot control the temperature in this car. The heater doesn't work. The air conditioner doesn't work. This window doesn't roll up or down. I can't get airflow. I can't do anything. Right now, it's more than 80 degrees in this car, and it's going to get hotter today. I can't control whether it's dark or light. I have to go with the flow. I can't... you could put blankets up in the window and everything, but then you introduce other perils, because now I can't see my environment to maintain my security. But I can't go in and just turn the dimmer switch down. I'm at the mercy of the sun, whether it's overcast or bright. I cannot control, again, the lighting. Is it overcast? Or if it's overcast, I can actually see this computer and get some work done. If it's super bright, I can't see anything on the screen and I can't get anything done. I can just sit in the seat and vegetate. That's all I do. I can't control the humidity, because my humidity is whatever it is outside. That's it. I'd have no climate control in the car. I can't control whether my environment is wet or dry. If it starts raining, I have to step out of here to get gas, food, and the bathroom. And I'm going to get wet. And I'm going to sit back in this car wet. I don't have control over that. I have little protection from the rain for that reason. I have no protection from hail or lightning as the storms begin. Do I have a comfortable bed? No. I sit in this seat for the last 3 weeks, 24 hours a day, except when I go to the bathroom or food or gas. I have sat in this seat for 3 weeks. No blood flow, no exercise, nothing. I've got this metal bar jamming into my side the whole time. No. Comfortable bed. Do I have a toilet? No. I must go to a public toilet, which with the stay-at-home order pretty much limits me only to gas stations where wonderful, nice, housed Minnesotans urinate all over the seat, sometimes defecate on the seat, sometimes vomit on the seat, and the homeless guy has to clean all that up before he uses it. Do I have a bath or a shower? No. This is day, 24 I think now, without a shower or a shave. I want this hair gone so badly. Do I have a kitchen where I can prepare nutritious meals and hot meals? No. The only thing I've eaten is potato chips and Cheez-Its, with 2 exceptions. On 2 occasions, I bought a pizza, but I don't have enough money to do that often. Otherwise, for 3 weeks, I have eaten potato chips and Cheez-Its. Do you understand? I live fundamentally different than Governor Walz. Storage space. I have no storage space. You see all the junk in this car? It bounces around, it gets lost, it gets broken. I'm spilling drinks every single day. I spilled it this morning, and it went all over all my electronics. I had to spend a long time drying that out. Electricity. The only electricity I have this power inverter with one outlet and a couple USBs, but only one outlet I can use at a time. I can use this camera, or I can use the computer. If the computer has battery, I can use both. Waste disposal. No, I must travel to someone else's trash can. And since the only places I can really go, again, are these gas stations, how do you think it feels when I go in, I'm carrying these bags of junk, I get out of the car, and I have to go to the same gas stations all the time because I am a limited mobility, and these people inside watch me come out and bring a bunch of bags and put it in the trash can that they are going to have to empty later. How do you think they look at me? Do you think they look at me as a real winner? Someone who they appreciate? I don't want to do that to them. They don't even know I'm in there cleaning their toilet for them. Running water. No, the only running water I have, again, is when I go into a public bathroom, and quite often that water is rank and putrid. Sometimes it just smells like sulfur, and it makes me just start gagging, especially if I ever try to brush my teeth and that stuff. Full and immediate access to all my possessions? No, I have to go to storage when they're open. They're only open during the daytime if I want access to my own possessions. Mobility? No, I'm stuck in the seat. If I leave this car, I leave everything I own and my home at risk of these housed people. Not homeless people. The housed people are the ones who will steal or destroy this car. I can't leave this seat. I have no blood flow, no circulation, nothing that resembles a healthy way to live. A place to exercise? Same thing. Absolutely not. The ability to earn an income? No, I told you, I'm the only person who is not allowed to work. Total discrimination against the homeless. Do I have an address for receiving stimulus checks? No, I live in a car. The stimulus checks, they might go in direct deposit, but the thing is, they're based on your previous tax filings. I can't file my taxes. It's a felony because I have to put in a resident address, and I don't have one. I have contacted the IRS repeatedly for help with this. They refuse to even discuss it with me until I provide them with a resident address. So I'm paying my taxes. In fact, I'm paying more than I'm supposed to be. I'll never get it back. So I pay my taxes, but I can't file my taxes, and you had to file your taxes to get a stimulus check. So I don't get one. And traditionally, it's been the same thing with unemployment. I've heard there's some changes there, but I don't know the details on that yet. I don't want unemployment. I want to work for a living, and I don't understand why the homeless person is the only one in the state of Minnesota who wants to work for a living while they're calling me a lazy bum because I live in a car. This is lunacy, people. You see, the response that Governor Walz didn't always live in a mansion is not relevant. This aide did not understand what I was talking about. They literally cannot comprehend the idea that other people who are not them, empathy, real empathy, not what she called empathy, but the real thing. We live in a fundamentally different way. And those people living out in ditches, on the street, in a tent, they live fundamentally different than I do. Now let me ask you this question. Again, there's 19,601 or more people just in the homeless in Minnesota. There's people who have all kinds of life situations, even in homes. They live fundamentally different than Walz does. They live fundamentally different than I do. Fundamentally different than their neighbor does. Everyone has their own unique circumstances and life stories. Only a communist nation that dehumanizes people down to just the level of animal, just a pawn, only they are going to treat it as if everyone's exactly the same and everyone's going through the same thing in life. That is not the case. Now, let me ask you this. Which of these computer models that model contagious disease takes that into consideration? I'll answer it for you. None. They don't. They don't even attempt to. They treat everybody as exactly the same. At best, and I haven't found a model yet that does this, but if it ever did, at best, it would take people who are housed and call them X, and it would take people who are homeless and it would call them Y. And it would attribute some mathematical constant that's a bit different for one than the other, and that's it. But all the stuff I just listed out, which I didn't even mention everything, did I? I didn't mention the daily diarrhea, the daily bleeding. I didn't mention any of that stuff yet either. Those computer models do not take any of that into consideration. They don't take into consideration the fact that when I keep having to go into these gas stations all the time, I naturally try to stay away from the employees just because I'm so humiliated. Nothing to do with disease. They treat me like any other person who will just go right up in their face. The models don't understand the way that different people are different people. The entire model only exists of very complicated mathematical equations. Calculus, if you know anything about calculus versus arithmetic or geometry or something, calculus is a form of mathematics that studies rates of change. It studies things that are variable, that are changing over time. If you drop a ball from an airplane, it falls and hits the ground, that's static. Statics is what they call it. You can measure, it's the same every time. But what about if you throw the ball from the airplane sideways and then it has to curve and come down, and you can throw it at different speeds, different levels of intensity? Then you have all these variables and how long it takes to hit the ground. That's calculus. Extremely complicated, beautiful. I love calculus. It's a beautiful form of mathematics, but it's wow, is it ever complicated? It's not. You can't take into consideration every possible different change and rate of change when you're dealing with independent human beings. 7.6 billion of them. It can't be done, folks. It can't be done. When I told you about the guitar models, I told you that even if they try to model a resistor, they have to stop. They have to draw the line somewhere. You can't go try to model, well, this resistor has this amount of impurities, and this resistor has this amount of impurities, and it has this effect on how well the resistor works. You can't do it. There's too many possibilities. With those models, they just stop trying. With these models, they don't even go that far, if you can believe it. They don't even go as far as the guitar modeling ones do. And yet this is precisely what they claim to model. They claim to model human behavior. That's the whole point of these computer models. They're trying to say how the disease is going to spread. Well, they can't do that if they don't even understand how people are interacting with each other. And yet, as I just explained, they have absolutely no idea how people are interacting with each other. And they can't know. People are different. People do different things, they think differently, they react and respond differently.